You may start the conversation now.
Okay, Jeremy, you're back. Yep,
All right, great.
good. You're talking about small victories. I know Selena told you that I had won my election for school board member, did she not?
Yeah, Tylee told me that this morning when I called, when we had our morning call, so congratulations.
Well, thank you.
There you go.
But
That's
there
not a
were,
small victory, that's actually a huge victory.
it is huge, and that's part of even a huger victory in our county. There are four other conservatives running for seats on our school board. All of us won, so there's 5 of us now that on a panel of 9. So we have the majority voice, and all of us ran unopposed. I'm not quite sure how that happened, except that I think God caused us to fly under the radar and just allowed nobody to oppose us. But also, we flipped 2 other school boards in our county, and we have strong conservative voices on 2 other school boards in our county. They're not majority, but they will make their voices heard and push back and argue every decision that comes across. You still there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And it's just an example of what, most of us belong to a patriot group in our county, and it's just an example of what just one group of people were able to do when we decided we were going to stand up and push back and fight for our freedom and for our liberties. So I just wanted to let you know that, there are victories happening all over the rest of the country too.
Well, and trust me, these types of victories are what really strike fear in their heart. You see, their public narrative that, we're dangerous and we're violent, that's just fake, right? That's simply to demonize us. See, while they are definitely afraid of that, which is why they're trying to take our guns, they know that stupid people are scared by that false narrative, right? And so that's the one that they want to go with, because one, they want to take our guns, just to convince stupid people that we're all just as crazy and violent as they are, right? But see, when we actually do things the way that we always were meant to do them, which is to get out there and be involved and be informed and be moral representations of our community in these smaller offices all the way up to the bigger offices, that's really what scares them to death. That's why they never talk about any of these elections. See, this is how they gained control while we were all asleep. But see, now they've awoken the sleeping God.
They have.
And the famed Japanese admiral said after Pearl Harbor, right?
Yep.
Not only did they awaken the sleeping giant, but they filled it with resolve.
Yes.
And see, this is what they are afraid of, because there are always and will always be more of us than there are of them. And so if they lose control on this information dominance of which they've maintained for so long, and they start to lose these smaller elections, or these city councils, or these county commission seats, or these state legislatures, or these sheriff offices, then they're going to ultimately lose. Because, see, they don't have the real numbers, which is why they have demonized the election integrity movement. Why? Because the only way that they maintain power is by stealing elections. They cannot win. They can't win the public debate. They can't win actual fair elections. And so they have to cheat. But I think I learned as a small kid that cheaters never win.
That's right.
You have to continue to keep the pressure up in order to avoid the last resort, which is the one that they claim that we use as our first resort. But make no mistake, right? There's a reason why they're trying to take your guns, and it's because they know that they're outnumbered, they're outmanned, they're outwitted, and they're definitely outgunned. And so we have to keep up a fight at all levels and give no ground to these tyrants and give no quarter to these tyrants until we restore this country back to its liberty foundation.
And what we did in our county was we proved that what Trump has said is right. Everything starts at the local level.
Yeah.
Well, it always has. In fact, Alexander Hamilton, in one of the Federalist Papers, I believe it was 26, he writes about that if we were to discover that our greater, larger pieces of government, the national legislature, were to be filled with treasonous and corrupt individuals, and we should then abolish these forms of government all the way down to the smallest level. And
Absolutely.
This is why you constantly see the unified school districts. Why? Because when you make smaller districts into larger districts, you dilute the voice of every individual citizen within that district. This is why, and this is something that I've been bringing up a lot lately. Even in the Constitution, there is only supposed to be one representative for every 30,000 Americans. It's stated right there in the Constitution, in Article 1. One representative in the legislature for every 30,000 American citizens. And do you know that there is no constitutional amendment, a legal change to that ratio? And yet right now, the representation ratio in Congress is about 1 for every 750,000. That means that your voice has been diluted from 1 in 30,000 to 1 in 750,000. Well, how did it happen? Well, because they've ensured that the United States school system, which should not even be a term, right? There should be no such thing as public school. There should only be local schools. Your schools should be based on what your community needs. If you live in Nebraska, it might want to be agricultural based. If you live in Pennsylvania, it might want to be industrial based, right? But see, there should be no federal school system, right? Schools were meant to be run at the local level because the local community is what knows what is best for its local residents and citizens and children, right? And see, this is what they are deathly afraid of. And this is why you've seen school districts that used to cover just a couple of schools, and when parents could come and be heard and actually make unified school districts that are county-wide, like in Hillsborough County, Florida, where I live, one of the largest counties in the United States of America, has a unified Hillsborough County School District. Well, see, they love that because, see, it consolidates power at the top rather than where it belongs, which is at the closest level to the individual.
So it's better to have individual school districts than, like you're talking about, a county-wide district and having, you know, like superintendents underneath all that.
Of course.
Yeah.
And look, just like any other thing, I mean, you can have layers, right? I mean, if you want to have a county school board, that's fine, but there should be independent lower school boards. In fact, each school should have its own board, right? That's how you make that school most effective, right? And see, what they do is they suck all the power up to a huge bureaucrat top, and then what happens? The schools all get degraded, and then what do? They blame what? They just blame some false entity, like, the schools all gotten worse, even though we continue to spend more and more and more money. They never blame the consolidation or the usurpation of powers for the lower levels of the top. That's never, ever considered to be the cause for the failure in our school system. And yet, that's the only common thing that has affected every school district across the country. But see, it's because they want the power, right? And they've got the power, and they definitely don't want to lose it now. How do we take that back? by getting people like yourself elected that have the sense of individual liberty, that have the belief that each school independently should control its own destiny because it has the closest relationship with each individual student and, more importantly, each individual parent. Now, personally, I think if you put your kids, your most precious resource that you'll ever have control over in your life, in the hands of strangers, well, then you're making a mistake. But that's because I am a firm proponent in homeschooling. But not everybody is in a position where they can do that. And if they must rely on strangers teaching their kids, they should be involved as much as they can in who those strangers are and what those strangers are teaching their kids.
Right. And a lot of schools now don't allow parents just to pop into a classroom and observe and visit. You have to go through, jump several hoops before you're even allowed to sometimes even get in the building. And that used to be a common thing. Parents could just pop in anytime and just sit in their kids' classroom and observe and see what was going on. And so they've decreased their role of parents and eliminated some of their abilities to be involved in their kids' education.
Well, of course. I mean, darkness only goes away when you turn on a light, right?
That's right.
Transparency
Yep.
is defined by a window of which you can see through. But transparency can never be achieved through a concrete wall. And see, this is what they've built around our children, because see, our children to them are weapons, right? I mean, they are indoctrinating kids into this new religion of government dependency. And see, you don't want that for your kids. So what do they have to do? They have to lie to you and say, we're educating your kids. Okay, well, I would like to see the type of education you're doing. No. We can't let you do that. I have directly encountered this when I took custody of my nephew and I enrolled him in what I thought was the best high school in the city, right? Plant High School. And I said, I would like to come sit in on the faculty. Well, we can't really do that. And you know what the excuse was given to me? Is that if they allow me to do it, well, then every parent would want to do it.
Darn!
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Exactly. If one parent does it, they're all going to want to do it. You mean to tell me that parents are going to want to know what their kids are being taught? But see, their evil plans sometimes overlap and expose their other evil plans, and that's exactly what COVID was, right?
Yeah.
During COVID, people were accidentally, because they didn't think that far ahead, they accidentally were exposed to what's really happening to their children in these schools, right? And so now they're having to deal with those repercussions, and I think it's a wonderful thing for this country. But it's going to take a long time. It did not take 1 or 2 generations to get where we are. It has taken decades and decades of this mind control at the elementary, high school, and college level to get mass psychosis across the United States to where people literally are demanding government surveillance. They're demanding more government handouts. They're easily and voluntarily relinquishing their liberty because that's what they've been trained and taught and indoctrinated to think is the key to safety and security.
Correct.
But it's just not true.
Yeah. Do we have any questions for Jeremy off the live stream?
No, I don't have any.
Because he's about running out of time here. Yeah, we got about 30 seconds.
Anybody have any questions for
Before
Jeremy?
you go, I want to congratulate you. I want to congratulate you on your victory, and I want to thank you for having me on today. And of course, I kept the audience. The Bureau President said that I'm available to talk anytime between now and September 2027.
Okay, we'll keep that in mind. But thanks for calling in, Jeremy. We really appreciate it, and we'll talk again.
God bless you, Jeremy.
Thank you,
God bless everybody.
Yep. Bye.